Hey guys! Okay, so if you follow me on Instagram or Twitter, you guys will know that this past week and a half I have been in Mexico. I went to Mexico with my boyfriend and his whole family, and I had so much fun when I was there. It was a really fun vacation, but I did miss you guys a lot. So the videos that you guys saw like all last week were pre-recorded before I left, and then I just scheduled them to upload, so I'm really sorry if I haven't gotten back to your comments on those videos. I'm going to be going through them right after I film this video and getting back to all you guys. So yeah, I'm sorry, and just be patient with me, but I really did miss you guys, so I'm happy to be back and filming. So today I have a really requested video, and that is my full face routine. I really like full coverage on my face. I just think that your face is the first thing that somebody sees, and so I really want it to look perfect. So I really do full coverage on my face, but just because I do full coverage doesn't mean that it's like thick or cakey, because I hate both of those things. Because I don't like my makeup to look thick or feel thick on my skin or cakey or anything like that. So if you guys want to see how I do my full coverage face routine and how I do my full face, then just keep watching. Thanks guys. Bye. Okay, so as you guys can probably tell, I'm not wearing any makeup at all on my face. The only thing that I do have on my face is my Clean and Clear Dual Action Moisturizer. So yeah, that's all I have on my face. I just moisturized it and let it just set into my skin for about 5 minutes, and now I'm ready to do my foundation. So the first thing I'm going to do is clip back my bangs, because as you can tell they kind of hang in my face. So I'm just going to clip them back with a bobby pin just to get them out of my face. And then a lot of times I will just put my hair back as well. And sorry, I have some like acne scarring around my chin, like some spots and stuff, just because my skin was like acting up a lot last week when I was on vacation, just because I think I was, you know, not using my regular face wash and stuff like that. So yeah, just bear with me with that. But yeah, even better to make it more full coverage. So the first thing obviously that you would start off with would be a primer. I don't always use a primer. Kind of depends on the day. On a daily basis I don't use a primer, but when I'm really doing this full coverage look, I will use a primer, because a lot of times I'm going to be photographed or something like that, so that's why I'm doing it so full coverage. So the primer that I'm going to use today is the Smashbox Photo Finish Foundation Primer with SPF 15 in it. I just have the little mini one. These are like amazing, like everyone loves them. Smashbox is amazing with primers, so I really like this one, and I don't use a lot of it at all, maybe like a little less than a pea-sized amount, and I really concentrate this in my T-zone. Just kind of spread it out and around my face. Okay. It has a really nice like feel to it. It's just very like silky, which is nice. And then I also do prime around my eyes. And this is just so my concealer doesn't crease and everything like that. So the one that I'm going to be using is the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. And you guys are probably like, no, you're not supposed to use that underneath your eyes. You're supposed to use it on your eyelids for eyeshadow, but you can also use it underneath your eyes as a concealer primer, and trust me, it really does work, and your concealer will not crease with it. So yeah, love this stuff. So I'm just going to use about that much, and I'm just going to put 2 dots underneath my eye, and then 2 dots up there, and then just kind of pat it in. Remember, when you're working with your eye area like this, it's very important to be very gentle. Okay, so now I am all primed up and ready to apply my foundation. So the foundation, again, my foundation changes on a daily basis as well. I don't always use the same one, but the one that I think I reach for the most often is the CoverGirl Outlast Stay Fabulous 3-in-1 foundation. I really love this for the summer. It's really light but still full coverage, which I love, because I don't like the feeling of really thick products on my face, but this one is not super thick, but it really does give you full coverage. So I'm going to take 1 pump of it on my finger, and then I'm just going to kind of place that all around my face. And then I'm going to take my Beauty Blender to blend it all out. If you want a more thorough like review on the Beauty Blender, I do have a review and demo of it on my channel, so I will link that down in the bottom bar. But I love this thing. It is literally amazing. And it just blends out your foundation flawlessly and makes it
look amazing on your skin and not cakey, which is really key when it comes to foundation. I just love the finish that it gives, and I like doing my makeup with this. Like, I don't know, I mean, obviously I like doing my makeup with everything, but I have like fun doing my makeup with the Beauty Blender. Like, I don't know why, I like bouncing on my face. It feels nice. Maybe I'm just weird, but maybe you guys feel the same as well. And I do clean my Beauty Blender before I use it every single day, so I do clean it every day right before I use it. But as you can tell, like, you know, you can see stuff that's on it. It's just because it's stained. It's not like it's dirty. But I have gotten some comments like, how often do you clean it? Because I know some beauty gurus say like once a week, others every day or whatever. I do clean mine every day, just, you know, to make sure any bacteria or anything is off of it. Okay, so that is the first, you know, first pump that I did, and normally I will go back and use like about a half a pump and just put that in like kind of my problem areas around like in my T-zone and stuff like that, just to give those areas a little bit more coverage. And again, if I was not going for a super full coverage day, I wouldn't do this, but you know, if I am, then I do this. So yeah, I just kind of dot it around in my T-zone, then I'll go in once more. Okay, so now that that is all blended, I just make sure I blend it underneath my chin and everything, just so there are no harsh lines anywhere. So yeah, it's all blended, and now, so now I do my concealer, and the concealer that I've actually been loving a lot recently is the Dermablend concealer. It's Blondie always talks about this, Casey Holmes, and she really likes it. This one is the Quick Fix Dermablend concealer, so I picked this up recently and I actually really do like it. The color is like a little off on me. They didn't really have a color that was perfect match for me, but I can blend it out and it looks just fine. So, and I got it in the color medium, so yeah. It's just like a stick concealer like this, but I do put it on my hand and then apply it to my face. And I just feel like with this concealer, your finger honestly is the best tool to use instead of a brush or anything, because the warmth of your finger just really helps to blend it in even more. So I just put this where I normally get redness, which is right around my nose, right around in here. I normally get very red in there. And then just around like my mouth and my chin, I have some redness. But yeah, I don't use a lot of it. This will probably last me literally forever, so. But I really like it so far. And then any excess that's on my finger, a lot of times I will just dot on my eyelids, just because I do have very thin eyelids. My skin is very thin there, so you can see my veins, so I like to just give them a little bit of more coverage before I go in with eyeshadow or anything. The next is my favorite part. You guys know that I love really, really, really bright under eyes, so I use the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind in Brightener, and I use this underneath my eyes. So I'm going to take this and, you know, twist it, make sure there's some product on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right in the corner of my eye right here and draw a line straight down to the edge of my nose. And then I'm going to take that and draw it all the way back, like that. All the way back to my hairline, and then fill in the triangle. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So this really highlights my under eyes, as you can tell, and looks crazy, but once I blend it out with the Beauty Blender and then, you know, make it match my skin tone, you guys will tell that it looks a lot better. So I'm going to use my Beauty Blender, but this time I'm going to use the pointed side to blend it out. And then I will just drag some up on top of my eye as well. And this step really is key to how I brighten my under eyes and how I get that really bright look underneath my eyes. This is definitely key. And you guys may still be like, oh my god, this girl is crazy. It still looks so bright underneath her eyes. But don't worry, I'm going to go in with a more of my skin tone colored concealer to make it not so crazy bright. But this underneath the concealer really just brightens so much, and I love the way that it looks. And then just to kind of balance out the brightness underneath my eyes, I like to take the concealer as well and just drag it down my nose. In my Cupid's bow, and then just a little bit on in between my eyebrows and my forehead, like that.
And that'll just help to brighten the center of my face as well, because I really just like the look of a really bright center of the face. And then I'm going to use the big side of my Beauty Blender just to blend this out. So that just helps to kind of further brighten the center of my face. Okay, so now I am all done with that, and then I'm going to go in with my favorite under eye concealer ever, the MAC Pro Longwear concealer. I talk about this all the time. You guys know that I love it. And mine is in the color NW25, which is still slightly lighter than my skin tone, but you know, underneath my eyes, obviously I like it to look brighter, so it's okay. And this has a pump. I try and get like half a pump, but sometimes it's hard just because of the pump top, but I try and get only a teeny tiny bit. There we go. So only that much, like a very little amount. A little bit of this stuff really does go a long way. It's very heavy duty. I love it. And so what I'm going to do is apply that underneath my eyes, just in little dots, and just kind of make the under eyes not so white. And again, I'm using my finger because I just feel like with concealer, your finger really is your best tool because it helps to blend. Then I'm going to use the same on the other eye. So now you can tell it doesn't look as crazy bright underneath my eyes anymore. It looks a lot more natural and better underneath there. Okay, so now I have put on all of the liquid things on my face that I am going to be using today. So the next step is to use powder to set them. This is super, super important to any full coverage look, just because the powder is going to lock in that liquid, all the liquid products that you used on your face. Without it, they could slide off, especially in the summer. I just think it's so important, but that doesn't mean that you need to go cake on 1,000 pounds of powder. You guys will see I don't use a lot of powder at all, but it really, really, really key to making your makeup last in any full coverage look. So the first thing that I always powder is my under eyes, just because that is something that I definitely want to stay, because you guys know I have bad under eye circles. So it's the first thing that I always powder. And I do use a different powder for my under eyes than I do for the rest of my face. You guys will see. Powder that I use for my under eyes is the Revlon Photo Ready powder in translucent. It just looks like this, and then this is the translucent powder. I actually really love this stuff for my under eyes, just because the translucent powder, as you can tell, is very white, and it does leave a slight white cast, but I like that for my under eyes because it's brightening them. I would not suggest to use this powder all over your face because it's going to give your whole face a white cast, but just underneath my eyes, I think it's great, you know, because it does leave that little tiny bit of a white cast. You can't see it in like pictures or anything like that. It just kind of further highlights that area, which I want to do. And I do use a little foundation brush, like a mini one like this, to powder my under eyes. So I'm just going to dot it in there and then just apply the powder right to my under eye area. So yeah, that is what it looks like. So now that my under eyes are all powdered and set, I'm going to go in and set the rest of my face with powder. I do use two different powders on my face, and that is to contour my face. I use a lighter powder in the center of my face and a darker powder on the sides to kind of give my face that slimmer effect. So yeah, I'm going to show you guys how I do that. The first powder that I use in the center of my face is also from the Revlon Photo Ready line, but this one is the Fair Light powder. As you guys can tell, it is very light. Way too light for my face, but when I use it in the center of my face, it really does look beautiful and highlight my face. So I use my favorite powder brush ever is this Real Techniques powder brush. Love this so much, so I use this for the center of my face. So I'm just going to kind of dot it in the powder like so, and then I'm going to apply. And it's also very important to really just dot the powder on your face, not like swirl it all around, because when you're swirling the brush all around your face, you're going to move the makeup underneath. So you really just dot the powder on your face. You guys will see I don't really swirl. So now that the center of my face is all set, I'm going to use my darker powder to set the outside parts of my face. And the darker powder that I'm using is the MAC Studio Fix powder in the color NW35. Which is more, you know, my skin tone type color. And I'm going to be using a different Real Techniques powder brush. I just bought two just because it was easier to have one for the lighter powder and one for the darker powder, so I didn't have to wash it every single time in between powders. So yeah, this is the darker one. So I'm just going to, again, dot it in the powder, not a lot, just about that much. So as you can tell, I'm really just focusing this to the outer parts of my face.
And then I do a little bit underneath my chin.
And so you can tell my face like looks more contoured now. And then again, I'm gonna just do it on my temples, right above where my eyebrows are, but I'm leaving this center part right here in my forehead. I'm gonna leave that bright, but the outer part a little bit darker. So yeah, that is how I get my full foundation routine, my kind of full face look, and you know, get the highlighted look that I get. I do go in after this and further contour and highlight with powders. I do have a full video on that, so I'm not going to include it in this just because it would be so long, but I have a full video on it and I'll link it in the bottom bar on how I contour and highlight further with powder. But yeah, this is how I get my flawless face, and thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!